Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday, May the 10th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. The actual mothers, not the only fans and the Pornhub and Brazers women who, like Caroline Levitt, who just will do anything for $1 but also have children. Some of these women are trafficking their own children using child support and federally funded financial aid so they can use their children as a means of income. We've all seen this time and time again. I know I've endured it. Most men in America have endured having their children used as weapons against them and basically extorted out of money because they had a child with a woman. And in America, child sex trafficking is the backbone of the United States economy, has been for decades. And we don't export anything except children. We don't export cars around the world. We don't export clothing around the world. We don't export anything except children, which is why we went to Venezuela, kidnapped Maduro, tried to take their oil. The oil was unusable. It was garbage, as the CEO of Exxon said. And then we decided to go to Iran and try to steal their oil and use their oil to make money because the United States government has ran out of children to sell. The United States is the #1 exporter of children worldwide, and they have run out of children, which is why after 1,704 days of terrorism by the FBI, Homeland Security, local, state, and federal law enforcement, politicians, basically anybody in the United States government defends the rape, murder, and sale of children and attack parents who don't want children raped, murdered, and sold. So let's pay some homage to one of the many people responsible for these YouTube videos that I gotta do every single day because my government sticks dicks in children and think it's funny. Cute, funny, and entertaining fucking kids in the United States of America. Lord forgive me for the F word, but these demons are just demons. And that man right there, Kelly L. Hansen, state judge, Marietta, California, in Riverside County, 17 years of kidnapping, raping, torturing, abusing, murdering, and selling children. Using his position as a state judge for that qualified immunity, he gets to do whatever he wants to children with no consequences because he's an elected public servant of the United States government. This man kidnapped my 7-year-old son, stuck his dick in my 7-year-old son, and according to Capitol Police Intelligence, murdered my 7-year-old son, as they told me in 2024 that my son was dead to stop calling them. Good old United States of America public servants at their finest. And their defense of all of this is, but you. That is all they say. If you tell them that they are child rapists, they will say, but you. I mean, it's just sick, evil, disgusting, and it is redundant and retarded. Now, having to do all this in the United States of America so people don't rape children. There's my son. I haven't seen or heard from him since 2021. He was 7 years old in this picture. We used to go to the basketball courts every day. We used to go to the park every day, play, and just, be normal family in the United States of America. But no, not as long as we got a pedophile president and intelligence agencies that sell children. We can't have families in America anymore. I'll tell you what you can have in America. You can have an addiction to Big Pharma. Would you like some Xanax or some Prozac or some Zoloft? Maybe you'd like some Blue Chew or some Viagra or some Cialis. You can have that. Maybe you'd like to have some of that fine FBI bourbon with Cash Patel's logo and name on it. Maybe you'd like to be an alcoholic. You can do that in America. That's what you can do. Maybe you'd like to make porn videos in your home and distribute them across the world to make a few extra dollars. You can do that. You can go on OnlyFans and Pornhub and Brazers and upload your personal videos of you defiling your body in sick, evil, disgusting ways. You can do that. Maybe you'd like to steal millions of dollars from taxpayers in the United States of America. You can do that. Would you like to be a Rick Scott? Would you like to be a Eric Swalwell? Would you like to rape women? You can do that in America. You can rape women. Matter of fact, speaking of raping women, I have a link here. I watched yesterday with the Young Turks where I believe it was, no. It was Jennifer of iHip News, where there's an actual global rape club. Men are raping women. That's right. Men across the world are raping women.
You ever see this
and
credit
filming
card? Be
it.
warned. Its effects
Let
could
me
be altering
pull the
your
video
financial
up here.
health. Stage 1, your
I think there's, if you look at least I'm not cheating on you, or they are. And she produced for me when we covered terror attacks in Europe once upon a time, as one does as a journalist. And so when I saw this story, and what she explained to me is it first came out, and I don't think it got as many eyeballs, and then something happened and it just went poof and it went viral here in the States. And essentially the story is I feel so naive. I just had no idea that this even existed, where it's like these, a lot of times, husbands, partners, in the safety of one's home, are taking, in one woman's case, Zoe Watts, like the child's sleeping medication, crunching it up into her nighttime tea, drugging her to be unconscious. And then there are these hashtags on these porn websites. By the way, the website's not the dark web, like just broad daylight, where it's called like hashtag eye checks, where they're like pulling their eyelids out.
Yes.
So you can see that they're completely, or their limbs, or, so they're out. And then these men are raping their wives and partners. And then they're uploading the video to the internet, where millions and millions of people are visiting every month.
That's what I want to talk about, the scale of this.
Yeah.
The scale of people that viewed this was 60 million?
It was like something like 62, and I know it was 80. Saskia told me it was 80 million visits to this website, motherless.com. And then within that, like, there are all these subsections of, kink. And like, there is a world of safe and fun kink. And then there's a world of kink that's really crime. And that is what this is. This is rape. Doesn't matter if you're unconscious, you're not consenting, it's your husband, you're not consenting.
Of course.
And so some people, and I say some, like I was talking to a lawyer out of Texas yesterday who actually represented a lot of the young women who were survivors from Larry Nassar, and she was like, Brooke, 98% of...
We're going to stop there because she mentioned Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar was a gymnastics doctor for the U.S. Olympic team who had nearly 2 decades of violating and abusing underage girls, using his position as a doctor to do so. Much like State Judge Kelly Hansen, using his position as a state judge to molest little boys. Much like Jim Jordan in the United States Congress, using his position as a wrestling coach to molest young boys. Do you see a pattern forming here? Do you see a pattern? And the reason nothing gets done about this is because these people, these demons, these creatures, have been doing this for decades. I'm talking 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And they have acquired so many victims over such a long span of time that it would literally bankrupt the United States system to pay the damages to the victims. There would be no money. Larry Nassar did get prosecuted, and it cost, I believe, in the neighborhood of $250 million, and that's a low estimate. $250 million for one man and all of the victims he acquired. State Judge Kelly Hansen would probably be in the neighborhood of $200 to $500 million, but they can't even find the children because they're gone. They've been sold. They've been trafficked around the world, raped repeatedly. Most of them are probably dead, like my son, dead. And do you see anyone doing anything about it? Do you see U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon doing anything about it? No. How about Gruesome Newsom? Good old Gruesome Newsom. Do you see him doing anything about it? Nope. How about the FBI? Yeah, you know what the FBI does? Covers it up. They work double time to discredit and silence anyone. Put them on mental health holds, intimidate them, threaten to kill them. Yeah, I've had numerous death threats, 4 mental health holds, 3 years living in a car, couldn't get a job because my background was falsified. On and on and on. Domestic terrorism, so the United States government can rape, murder, and sell children. That's it. That's why I gotta sit here and make these videos every day. So grown men can stick dicks in children. That's where we're at as a nation, as a country, as a society. But we'll play some more.
Percent of men do not serve time.
And you know, I was talking to you before we clicked record. My audience, we follow a lot of politics, and this is very much linked to the psychological soil that MAGA and autocrats nationwide are harvesting for us. And they're promoting a form of toxic masculinity, and they are trying to diminish women's rights and diminish victims' rights. Look at the cover up of the Epstein files.
Yes.
And I wanted just to show how depraved this is. Here is just one screen.
Let's pause there. The diminished victims' rights. See, I was a victim of domestic violence for 3 years, a little over 3 years. Repeated assaults. Still got a scar on my finger being cut with a knife. There's a scar. Filed for restraining orders. Denied. Couldn't get a restraining order. Couldn't evict her from my house because we were legally married. So I couldn't get her out of my house, couldn't change the lock, couldn't make her leave. That's what Riverside County Sheriff's Department said. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. You're legally married. You just got to take it. As a man, you just got to be abused, used, emasculated. And if a woman does anything, or if you call in on a woman, they're the victims. They're the victims. That's where we're at. So, but I digress. Let's go on.
Screenshot from these group chats. Let's pop this up, Kylie. User 1, been wanting to do this to my missus for ages. I can't get blank, but honestly, shit scared of overdose. User 2 says, always start low.
Yeah.
You're thinking long game. So if first time ain't enough, up the dose. And user 3 says, blank milliliters in a milkshake. She felt nauseous. Gave her a tablet of Imodium, was blank, did fuck her well, but she was not out enough and had no more blank on me. And so you interviewed some of these women. Were they aware the next morning?
It's a great question. First of all, just on that screenshot that you showed, on these websites, it's not just that they are uploading these videos of rape, but they are coaching one another, like man to man, like, hey, this amount of, Ambien really worked for me and my wife, like you should try this, or what kinds of drugs are you using? Or there's ways in which you can procure said sleeping medication to drug one's wife. I interviewed Zoe Watts over in England, who had been with her husband for years and years and years. And she and this other survivor described kind of feeling extra groggy. But, as women, we gaslight ourselves.
Totally.
We were like, oh, we have small kids, or we've moved into a new home, or it must just be that I'm exhausted, or I'm exhausted from work, whatever it is. We would never think, my husband has drugged me and is fucking me unconscious. We would never think that. And so what this story does is does what great journalism does. It's shining this light into the darkness of oh, fuck, this is actually happening. This is called sleep content on these porn websites. And I was talking to an algorithm expert the other day on my Substack, where it's kind of like the manosphere, where it's a young man jumps on the internet and is looks up, great protein shake. And 4 clicks down, they're in the territory of, Andrew Tate,
Nick Fuentes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing on these porn sites. And the porn sites, by the way, aren't liable. So they're not being pulled down. And it's all right, strangulation set, whatever.
Wait, hold up. So these porn sites have evidence of crime on their websites and they're not held liable.
It's something to do with, and I'm not a lawyer, but it's the Communications Decency Act, section, it's either 230 or 260, where basically that's correct. They are not liable for what is uploaded because the site itself is not uploading the video. It's these individuals. And so it's up to the individuals, and then the burden falls on the woman to be aware of what's happening to her, to then take it to police. Which is of course it's on the woman to do everything, to even be aware, to know this is happening.
See, and that's the thing. They blame the victims for the crimes being committed against the victims. This is a pattern in our country. Whether it's the Epstein files, whether it's my situation with the state judge, Kelly Hansen, it's my fault. This is what they do. They blame the victims, and even when you report it, they dismiss you, call you crazy, ridicule you, mock you, discredit you, silence you. We'll go above and beyond. Nobody is accountable for crimes against humanity in the United States of America. That's a fact. And let me repeat that one more time. No one is accountable for crimes against humanity in the United States of America. Whether it's trafficking women, whether it's trafficking children. Eric Swalwell drugged, choked, and raped 6 of his aides or interns. 6 of them. Drugged, choked, and raped. Guess what happened? He lost his job. That's it. And he didn't even get fired. He resigned, keeping his retirement, his pension, his benefits. No accountability. And that's why this is never going to stop. It's not going to stop. Because no one is accountable. Never has been. Have there been any arrests made in the Epstein files? Any at all? Any? Where was Jeffrey Epstein's home base of operations? Here in America, Manhattan, Palm Beach, and Epstein Island, just off the coast of Florida. And no arrests made for raping children. And it's everybody else's fault. It's not theirs.
I'm changing my vocabulary. It's not happening to her. It's being done to her.
Yeah, they're being raped.
They're being raped.
You've since interviewed 2 drug-facilitated marital rape survivors. What stood out most to you about your interviews with these women? What struck you? What is sticking with them?
I think it's the fact that, understandably, like, women, when they find out this is done to them, we don't report it immediately. We're not like, I'm being raped by my husband, let me call police. It's
denial.
It's like the self-gaslighting, the I don't want to believe it, the I want to protect my family. A lot of these, women have little children. I don't want them to know that their dad is capable of this and did this to me in the one room over. So it's a slow process. And sometimes there's the issues of statute of limitations, but you can, file in a civil case. But I can't even imagine, but a lot of these women are now on the other side. I talked to Zoe, and this happened to her for something like 16 years. And she didn't know until her then husband fessed up after church, as if he was ticking off a grocery list. And, oh, by the way, I had an affair when you were pregnant, and I've been, raping you, except I've been, giving you our son's sleeping medication, and I've been having sex with you. And then the man says, but at least I'm not cheating on you, or I'm not looking at other women on porn, as though that is some kind of justification for this behavior. That's what, and to your point about let's zoom out 30,000 feet. It's you look at this president.
Yeah.
You look at the private island and all that happened there and beyond, the lack of any kind of consequences or justice other than the one woman tied to the whole case is the one serving time.
And I want to touch on a couple of things she said. They always justify their behavior. There's always some sort of justification. I'm rich. Or have you seen the Dow Jones? What about Wall Street? And you'll hurt my friends. And we've heard all of this justification. And I want to make something abundantly clear, that I don't care if you're man, woman, child. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're from Iran or Chicago or California. A victim is a victim. That's it. No human being should be treated subhuman. Period. Full stop. So I just want to make that abundantly clear, that whether it's a woman or a man, whether it's black or white, old or young, elderly, child, makes no difference. Human beings should not be treated the way they are being treated. And I mean, this stuff is rampant across the world right now. Rampant. And no justice, no accountability. It's disgusting.
You know, it's like it goes on and on and on and on. Members of Congress behaving badly, this code of silence. And I just hope that through these women speaking up, and I know CNN's not done with the story. I've been in touch with Saskia. I'm like, girl, you got to come over here and talk to some American women. I just think that the more people speak up and out about it, not just about drug-induced marital rape, but just sexual assault in general, it's like courage is contagious.
I completely agree. And I also want to point out the parallels.
Courage is contagious. And I believe that. As they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Everything that's ever happened in anyone's life began with one. No one became an alcoholic in a matter of hours. It began with one. No one became an addict in a matter of hours. It began with one. No one has done anything overnight. Everything begins with one. And I make these videos. I send my emails. I make my phone calls every single day for 1,704 days. Because I disagree with anyone harming children. Whether it's a state judge, whether it's a president of America, whether it's a Congress member, a Senate member, a FBI, CIA, Homeland, I don't care what you do for money. I don't care about your employment status. No one has the right to hurt other human beings. And if they do, there should be consequences. Period. And we'll play this on some more.
When I heard this story, that I think this type of man that is being promoted with this veneer that they're somehow strong. So if you think about Pete Hegseth, who to me, he reeks of weakness, of insecurity. If you think about Donald Trump, he reeks of weakness and insecurity. If you think about a lot of these men in the cabinet, and then these men that are trying to make themselves feel powerful, but they have to sedate their own wives in order to dominate them, that there is a psychological flaw in men right now that we keep talking about. We need to lift men up.
Yeah.
And is it that we need to lift them up, or is it that maybe we're not calling them?
And I want to point out something about strong men. Strong men have courage. They don't go with the crowd. Strong men don't need to rape women or beat women. Strong men don't need to do this crap that Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel. Strong men don't behave like that. You see the superhero rules? Strong men are protectors. See that? Protect. Protect. That's what a strong man does. He doesn't attack. He doesn't bully. He doesn't retaliate. He protects. But I digress.
Out enough.
Okay, so I really needed a new car, but I don't
We
have
got a
a car.
commercial.
And last time I bought a car, it was traumatic. I even brought my husband for back.
We're not calling them out enough.
I think it's a really old, crusty system of how men and women have existed. And go with me here, because I'm going to first relate it to race, and then I'm going to relate it to gender.
Okay.
I think, like, having been a journalist as long as I was, having a front seat to the world, you know, from
So I wanted to find the headline of where they say this is a global rape club. They actually showed the article right there.
CNN. When I think back to, like, when Obama was
Okay, the following story includes
I'm gonna
stories of
pause it.
sexual assault that may be triggering for some listeners. An explosive new CNN investigation is pulling back the curtain on what is being called a academy.
And
Let's
this
pop
is
this up.
CNN. Read that headline. Exposing a global rape academy. And that's CNN. Sexual deviancy right now across the world is an epidemic. And it's happening to men, it's happening to women, it's happening to children because of lack of morals, lack of discipline, lack of self-control. And I don't understand why in the world sex is the dominating force across the world right now. Are we back in Sodom and Gomorrah? Is this Sodom and Gomorrah again? I mean, the LGBTQ nonsense, drag queen story hours in schools, transgender surgery. Do you see the sexual domination across the spectrum? Media, news, entertainment, sex. That's all you hear. OnlyFans, Pornhub, Brazzers, sex. I just read a headline the other day that sexual harassment payouts in Congress are in the hundreds of thousands, and that's just the ones reported. That's not counting the ones not reported, the hush money. So we're pushing the 30-minute mark. So I don't want to go over 30 minutes. I try to keep them at 30 minutes for attention span. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. All of this, 1,704 days of domestic terrorism by intelligence agencies and law enforcement across the country, 4 mental health holds across 3 states, numerous death threats, living in a car for 3 years, termination of all financial resources. All so a grown man could stick his dick in my 7-year-old son. All of this for a grown man to stick his dick in my 7-year-old son. No help or assistance from any attorneys, no help or assistance from any media outlets, no help or assistance from any podcasters, no help or assistance from any law enforcement, no help or assistance from anyone, any politicians, Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey, Robert Garcia, Tom Cole, Mark Wayne Mullen, Mike Johnson, Tim Burchett, Kevin McCarthy, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The list goes on and on and on and on and on, from Riverside County to Oklahoma City. What I get attacked, I get blamed. It's my fault. Serial child killer, state judge Kelly Hansen kidnapped my 7-year-old son and stuck his dick in my 7-year-old son. I'm to blame for that. That's their perspective. And it is across the board for everyone. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when her children were receiving death threats, the president said, well, it's your fault if your children die. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene's fault for signing the Epstein petition if her children are murdered. That's according to the President of the United States of America. That's documented. My fault. We're going to close with Hebrews because I'm already in Hebrews. And I just wanted to touch base on faith. And we're going to go Hebrews 11:20. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau, even regarding things to come. By faith, Jacob, as he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and worshipped, leaning on the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the exodus of the sons of Israel and gave orders concerning his bones. And we're going to go back to faith, because I want to reiterate this. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. The assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. That's faith. But according to the United States government, the FBI, Homeland Security, CIA, NSA, according to local law enforcement across this country, that is called delusions of grandeur. They have reframed faith as delusions of grandeur. If you have faith in Jesus Christ and you believe things are going to happen that you haven't seen yet, then you're suffering delusions of grandeur. And you probably need to be on Risperdal or Zoloft or Prozac or one of the big pharma drugs to psychologically contaminate you so you can become just an opioid addict, maybe. Good old big pharma creating an opioid epidemic in our country so they can get away with raping children. It's disgusting. But that's okay, because as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You can call me crazy all you want. And I said this before and I'll say it again. They put me in good company when they call me crazy. Because they called Jesus Christ crazy. They called Paul the Apostle crazy. They called John the Baptist crazy. So when you call me crazy, you're putting me in amazing company. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention. I hope everyone has a good Mother's Day. Do something good for your mom. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be alive. And have a good weekend, what's left of it. And I'll see you all tomorrow.